Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning to certain people over there in the West Coast. That's actually our guest and our co-host, Alycia. I want to welcome everyone to the Max Mobile Celebrity Podcast. I am your host, AJ, along with the two queens we have here, Ushanda
Hello,
and
hello.
Alicia Cooper. We want to say thank you so much
Hello.
for joining us. And how's everything over there on the West Coast, Alicia?
Ooh, it's good. It's good. I'm just recovering from a long week. How's it over there for y'all on the east?
Oh, the weather's definitely gotten up. What we in China? We in the 80s now? I think
Yeah,
we're like
it's
in
a
the low 80s
nice
right now.
day. Very
Nice.
nice day. I'll take it. I will take it.
Nice.
Not about that. Well, I want to say thank you, everybody, for joining us. And one of the first things I want to do is I want to give respect and homage to an artist that we lost this week. Shonda, I know you probably got some information on it, but our guy DMX, and I met DMX many years ago in Atlanta when I was working with Bobby. Really talented, very talented artist, and he's definitely going to be greatly missed. And I'm so sorry that he struggled and I think Sean, he had a heart attack. Had a heart attack and
Yes.
went into a coma, and we just lost him. And as of yesterday, I think that was.
Yeah, he
And
passed
so,
yesterday.
yeah, he just passed yesterday. So go ahead. I want to take that
hmm
away from you, Sean. I'm sure you probably did some research on that.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's just sad. He slipped into a coma after having a heart attack. And we briefly touched on it last week, last Friday. Um, he OD'd, is what initially happened that caused the heart attack, and they had him on life support, and they were hoping, everybody was hoping and praying for the best, but I believe it was Wednesday or Thursday, his organs started failing,
Yeah.
and late yesterday he passed away. He was only 50 years old. He struggled with addiction for a very long time. And part of his story was that when he was 14, as someone he trusted very much, a close family friend, convinced him to try weed, but the blunt was laced with crack. And
Mhm.
so he was 14 or 15, I believe I read. So that started his spiral into addiction and drug use. But nevertheless, DMX had a brilliant mind.
You sure did.
And it was very evident in all of his lyrics and in his songs. He really did go deep. He had a very spiritual side. He was always, praising God and talking about, being saved, and he basically chronicled his journey through addiction in a lot of his songs. So he will be missed. He had a very distinct voice. He had you knew,
No,
Yeah.
it was
you knew
DMX.
who it was. And he was the only artist to have 5 consecutive albums debut at number one.
Whew.
Like,
Yeah.
everybody don't realize how strong DMX came out the gate after Pac and Biggie died. So he was the next heir to the hip hop throne, so to speak, and he came out hard. Every time he came out, you knew DMX had some hits on his hands. So sad loss for the music and hip hop communities, because I really feel like he did have more to say. Um, but that, addiction is very hard to kick, especially when you started at such a young age. Um, so just want to send our condolences out to everyone that was very close to him. I mean, his family, his children, his fiance. I think he had I saw 2 reports, either 15 or 17 children. Please.
17. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he was about procreating.
Ooh.
That's a
Um,
conversation by itself.
right. So if he didn't leave us a legacy of his music, he sure enough left his legacy on earth with all of his kids. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's
he
just
did.
sad. Hmm
Yeah, and I had the pleasure of meeting him in 2006 because BET did a reality show on him called DMX Soul of a Man, and I was one of the directors and
Uh,
producers of the reality show. So I
that's
got to
what's
meet
up.
him, and yeah, I got to meet him and spend time with him over those episodes. And he was the nicest guy. You know, he had a lot of energy, and he had a lot of talent, and like you said, there's so much more that he could have given to this world because I mean, he was just brilliant. I mean, it is obvious that the man was brilliant, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just I just when they said that he was in the hospital, I thought it was so amazing. I mean, his fans went outside and did the musical tribute out in front of the
Mm-hmm.
hospital
Yeah.
for him and everything. That was just so amazing. I was hoping he could pull through for his kids. When I knew him, he only had five. You know, so some things
Oh,
going on since 2006, but
He
you
been
know, he's the
busy.
nicest person. He's been busy, but just the nicest person. And I met his ex-wife Tashira, you know, and they
Mm-hmm.
just had such a great connection. And yeah, it's just I feel bad for all of his family
Yeah.
members because I know that they're really struggling today.
Yeah.
and I just
I,
read recently that Beyonce and Jay Z, what they did was they spent about $10 million on his rights of all of his music.
purchased his catalog. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They purchased catalog and they're going to actually give it to his children. And I thought
That's
that,
awesome.
that was
That's
phenomenal.
awesome.
I
That is
did
That is
see that
phenomenal.
phenomenal. I've never
online.
even heard anything that amazing. And Anita Baker over here fighting for her catalog. Get on that, Beyonce and Jay Z. Anita Baker fighting. We need your help.
I thought that was phenomenal to be able to do
So
something like
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's some black family magic, black
that. It is.
excellence.
It really is. It's something, and that's something that we should all be doing. You know, we should be doing that to all for everybody. You know, it's something that because that's what, you know, that old saying that we got from our grandparents that you can't. You know, it's what is it about raising a child? It takes a village. It takes a
It
village.
takes a
Yeah,
village.
takes a village.
And that's what that's all about. It's about this
Yep,
community being able to help each other out. And I was so glad to hear that because a lot of
yep,
us, once we get to that certain start on that certain level, you know, they're all about them, you know, about themselves, and they don't look after. And they've been doing this for quite some time. They've been looking after a lot of people, and I really like that about them. Same thing with
Yeah.
Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry's doing the same thing. So,
yeah,
my props
yeah.
to
That's
Jay
true.
Z and Beyonce. I really appreciate that. I
Yeah.
would like to let everybody know about our guest. Benjamin Wright is a world renowned composer that's going to be joining us in a few minutes, and his work is just outstanding. And so, what I'm going to do, we're going to take a quick break for a minute before he comes in. And what I'm going to do, I'd like to, while we have a few minutes, I'm going to go ahead and play one of our favorite videos of Rough Riders of DMX, and this is just in for respect out of his family and all the work that he's done over the years. So we're going to come back in a few moments. We're just going to play a quick video of DMX. It's one of my favorite videos from back in the day.
Hmm. Wonder which one. Yeah, this one.
Yes, this one gets you going.
Stop, drop, shut them down, open up shop. Go,
Oh, oh, that's a surprise. Oh,
drop, shut them down, open up shop. Go, no,
no,
cause I'm rock riders.
let's roll.
Snitches wanna try, snitches wanna lie, the snitches wonder why, snitches wanna die. All I know is pain, all I feel is rain. I cannot maintain the madness of my brain. I resort to violence, my killers move in silence, like you don't know what I fly. When your feelings are wild, I go up and get it. You want it, come and get it. Tell me when we split it. Standing right, we did it. What the F we gon' do? When we run up on you, question what you gon' do. Don't know what we gon' do. I'ma have to show how easily we go. We find out it's some more. That's funny with Joe. If we can't handle, break it up with this mantle. Light it up like a candle. Just cause I can't stand it. So much takes. Like you want to break. Think you have to wait. You haven't with the apes. Stop, drop, shut them down, open up shop. Oh, no, that's a rough rider. Oh,
Oh,
stop, drop,
stop,
shut them
shut
down,
them
open
down,
up
open
shop.
up shop.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
no,
that's a rough Trust you and be crazy. Stop acting like a baby.
DMX, what are you feeling on the case?
Mind your business, lady. Nosy people get it too. When you see me spit it too, you know I'm trying to get rid of you. Yeah, I know it's pitiful. That's how killers get down. Watch my killers get round. Make you suckers get round. Just for talking crap. Or you think it's funny, then you don't know me, money. It's about to get ugly. Whatever, dog, I'm hungry. I guess you know what that means. Come up off that green. 5 tickets over me. Don't make it a murder scene. Give a dog a bone. Leave a dog alone. Let a dog roam and he'll find his way home. Home of the brave. My home is a cave. And yo, I'm a slave to my home, it's a rave. I'm a poor paper. It's all about the paper. Chickens cross the papers and now they wanna rape. Stop. Stop. Shut them down, open up shop.
We lost AJ. Hopefully he will be back. But I don't know. Do you have
like a
favorite?
flickering? Do you hear like a flickering?
Flickering?
Okay, I could have a favorite DMX song.
You can know when I kick. Don't be some flick.
Favorite
What
one.
was that look for when I walked in the
I
door?
got a cuss word in the title.
You don't run anymore, cause now you on the floor. You never saw me walk through that door with that 4-4. Now it's time for bed. 2 more to the head. Got the floor in. Yeah, that maggot's dead. Another unsolved mystery. Going down in history. Because they never did to me. Because they can't get to me. Got to make a move. Got a point to prove. Gotta make them prove. Got them all like, ooh. So to the next time, you hear this dog rhyme. Try to keep your mind on getting in crime. Stop. Stop. Shut them down, open up shop. Talk is cheap, motherfucker.
Okay. That was our dedication to and I'm so sorry that we lost another great artist. But I tell you, that man
Y'all make me lose my mind. Up in here. That's one of the ones.
Party, yeah. My favorite is the arrangement on what these bees want from it. And
Oh,
boom, 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 boom,
that
boom,
one.
boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
The whole beginning. What is it? That right there is. I just love the arrangement. And then Cisco
well, ladies,
singing.
yeah, I tell you, man, that was the day. Boy, that was back in the days. Boy, I tell you, man, that music was just. It just took us to, you know what? That's what real music was back in the day, man. I'm not going to take anything away from these artists today, but the music back then, it was from the streets, and they just put it out there, and it had so much feeling, so much heart, and it was just really a great. He had a string of hits. But anyway, I would like to go ahead and introduce our special guest today. And got a couple of some friends that are joining us today as well. But I'd like to introduce Mr. Benjamin Wright, who is, like I said, he's a world-renowned composer. And I can see him in the studio. How you doing, Benjamin?
I'm wonderful. Thank you very much.
Ben, I want to tell you something, man. It'll take me about an hour or so just to get into the accolades. You are such a phenomenal composer. I would say thank you so much. I can see you sitting in your studio, your home studio there. And I would say thank you so much for joining us. And you got a couple of buddies that are with us as well. Matter of fact, we're going to surprise you here, Benjamin. We'll go ahead and bring them in. We got our guy, Johnny Kroom.
Hey.
Oh my God.
Hey, Johnny.
And we got another gentleman that is with us too. Another friends of Johnny and also Benjamin, Mr. Elfie Pollitt is joining us today. How you doing, Elfie? I'm going to, but today is Benjamin's Right Day. So these are just some of the colleagues and some of the great friends. These are all legendary artists. They're all legendary. Elfie, Johnny, and Benjamin. And Benjamin, we're going to start with you. Thank you so much for joining us. I just wanted to let you know that we have listened to some of your biggest hits, and you got a string of them. And you started out working with Michael Jackson. With the Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. And then he also worked with the Earth, Wind, Fire. And it's interesting because they knew Earth, Wind, Fire before they were even called Earth, Wind, Fire back in the day with Maurice. So that's some real history there. But we're going to start off, Benjamin, tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you get started in music?
I was broke.
That's a real answer. I like that, Ben.
No, you know what? It has to start over before I got into music. You know, I'm from Greenville, Mississippi, so I'm a country kid. Okay, and maybe most people don't know what's a country kid. You know, I chopped cotton. I picked cotton. That doesn't coincide with the music at all. But I
Yes, sir.
always wanted to do music. That's all I ever wanted to do.
Mm.
So you know, not to give you all of my business, but they threw me out of high school, and obviously God had another plan for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I went to school before integration. See, wait a minute, you got Alfie on there, man. You know, he's older than me. You know what I'm saying? So
Y'all looking good today.
So you know, some of us actually went to school before so-called integration. You know,
That was the deep south.
yeah. So you know, when I was thrown out of school, what do? I'm not old enough to do anything. You know, so this is what I say: God had another plan,
He sure did.
and I'm just blessed beyond measure.
And I do see the keyboards, but what was your first instrument that you started on, Benjamin?
Drums,
Drums.
Drummer, just like Johnny.
yeah, but I couldn't play as well as Johnny.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, all right.
After hearing Johnny, I had to change.
What'd you do? Change instruments, or you had to step it up a bit?
I changed instruments. I changed everything.
Wow.
No, he's being kind. He's just being kind. It's all fun.
How many instruments do you actually play?
As of today,
Mm-hmm.
none.
None?
Sure.
Oh, goodness.
Let me explain that.
Uh-huh.
Now, I do tell you, Benjamin, I do know the workstation is. I can see why you say one.
Now listen to him. Listen to him. He has a story.
As a workstation, I'm not a player. I'm not a player. God has blessed me to have a pen in my hand. So I know the music. I can orchestrate for symphony orchestras or whatever. A lot of the things some of the things that you might hear today, there was no computers and all these things. That didn't exist.
Right.
We did it by hand.
That's right.
By hand. In fact, first time I talked to Johnny about it, he said, "Well, how did the producers and whatever hear what you were doing? They didn't. You only heard it when we got in the studio and the orchestra was there.
Yes, sir.
Play.
Yes, sir.
You know, now the cat said, well, you know, hey man, could you send me a demo? Excuse the expression. Hell no. I don't do demos.
Yes, sir.
That's the bottom line.
So basically, when you got out of school, out of high school, so you at this point you were about what, 15, 16 years old?
Yeah.
Okay. And so even when you started playing drums, you started off playing with some local groups?
I started playing in the high school band.
Okay.
You know, and I never played with groups per se in terms of drums. I was faking piano.
Faking piano. Explain that. How do you fake piano?
You look like you're playing.
At least let me see why we got comments here on this show.
Ain't no sound coming out of there.
They weren't hearing that.
Like I see it moving, but I don't hear nothing.
Did you accompany your fake piano with the air guitar?
Hey,
Whole
Ben.
fake orchestra.
We hadn't discovered air guitars then.
So all the instruments that you play, which one do you get the most enjoyment out of?
Well, like I say, I played a little piano and organ. I was an organ player.
That's the old Hammond. The Hammond B3.
Yeah.
I had three.
Yeah, that's that Hammond.
Wow.
Hey, AJ, if I may comment for a second,
Go ahead, Johnny.
I wanna try to make it the clarity and what he's basically saying. God has given Ben a gift of being able to write down what's in his head. He's saying he's not a player. He's kind of an elementary player compared to the things that he's done. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like he's done some extraordinary music, but in terms of playing the instrumentation, he hears it in his head and he writes it down on music and he passes it out to the musicians. He writes stuff that he may not be able to play himself, but he hears it. God gives him incredible, he has an incredible ear. If you listen to if you listen to any of his works, you would really be overwhelmed and awe to even figure how does somebody do that and not be able to play an instrument at that level. He hears things and he literally writes it down. Now he and I, we get into this all the time because I'm constantly asking him, well, how do you do that? And he comes back to the same it's the same answer every time. Johnny, I told you, God gives it to me. It's just that simple.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
just that
That's
simple.
amazing.
So when you hear "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" with
That
the intro,
right there.
the song starts with Benjamin Wright. That's all
Right.
it's been. All of that's been all that,
Yes.
all of that. When you
Yeah.
hear
That's
Boogie
brilliant.
Wonderland, when you hear
That's
Boogie
exactly the
Wonderland,
song I was thinking. That one too.
that's all
Oh
him.
my goodness.
But all of the instrumentation that you're hearing, he hears that in his head and he writes it down. And I think last week I was kind of
You
I think it
did.
was last week
You
that
did
we
touch on
spoke
that.
about this. Yeah,
Mhm.
how somebody can hear something in their head and write it down, and there's so many parts that they never hear it played together at one time. Like
No.
think about the "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" or even Boogie Wonderland with all of those different parts going on. He never heard it played together at one time until he passed out the music. That's a God-given gift.
It sure is.
But I raised hell in the studio.
I bet you did, Benjamin.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Trying to get all those parts out. Well, you know
Yeah.
what, Johnny?
Uh-oh.
It's interesting because
Play
all
as
of you,
just
all
play.
of
Wait,
you.
wait.
That's it. Play as written.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm very assured of what I put on the paper.
What you right. Don't add no seasoning. Just play it as I
That's
wrote
right. That's right. That's right.
Wow. That
That's
is a
usually
talent.
that's usually where Ben has the problem because he writes down exactly what he once heard and what he once played. And if somebody wants to add a little seasoning, that's when you may meet Benjamin Wright. You may meet him
Uh-oh.
then.
Uh-oh.
Because he's
Okay.
going to tell you, play what's
Stop.
on the paper. Play what's on the paper.
Okay.
Wow.
And
Wow.
Benjamin, I do have to ask you though, in regards to your gift and your talent, which I know comes from above, but is anybody else in your family, your mother, your father, any singers that coming from the church, coming from the deep south?
Oh, okay. Wow, I'm glad you mentioned that. I got a gig after I was thrown out of school to go on the road. And at that time, I don't know, you guys are kind of young. You might not remember the artist Taylor. Alfie does.
Oh yeah.
But what's happening, my dad said, well, whoever this guy is, and he was a superstar at that time, He's going to have to come talk to us. You know, oh my God, now I know I'm not going to get the gig, you know.
Uh,
But Mr. Taylor, you know, had children himself, so he understood and he came
mhm.
out with his entourage and the whole bit. And the people in the neighborhood all knew him. You know, they were looking in the window and the whole bit. My mom and dad didn't know Ted Taylor. They didn't do radio, they didn't do clubs or whatever. So my dad hit him. So, Mr. Taylor, first of all, this music that you guys are doing is not of the Lord.
Oh shoot.
Oh my God. I know I ain't gonna get the gig. But the cat was very cool. He understood, hoping to talk and talk and talk and talk. And my dad asked him other questions. It's okay, like now, if he goes out on the road, what happens when he's not performing? Well, Mr. Taylor said, well, we have a road manager, but my dad don't know what no road manager is.
Mm.
You know, he didn't have a clue about that. But finally, my dad said, this is not of the Lord. But if this is what my son wishes to do, then I'm going to back him. Whoa! I almost got a new religion. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I went on the road.
Okay.
And
Wow.
let me add something to that. My dad said, Mr. Taylor, I put him in your hands.
Mhm.
And Mr. Taylor said to the road manager, we have to take care of this kid. So here it is. I'm 2 days older than Johnny. A couple of months, I'll be 75 years old.
Mm.
I have never drank.
Yes, sir.
I've never smoked.
Yes, sir.
Never been high.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
They didn't allow me to get into that.
I second that emotion.
Wow. Mhm.
That's amazing within itself.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And you know, that's interesting how this talent, like you said, that we're born with. And, you know, one thing I always said that every human being, and especially in our black culture, we are all born with the gift. And the assignment, our job is to be able to unwrap that gift. And once we find out what that gift is, and there's a lot of us that are, you know, go through life and there's a difference between living and existing. And a lot of people don't get a chance to even find out what that gift is. And that's why I think that Benjamin, for what you have done, you have basically have given the world what's going on in your head, and you've been able to get with the right people, the engineers, the producers, and being able to put all that stuff together. And it's just phenomenal what you have done. And could you tell us some of the other artists? We know that you work with Michael Jackson. I'll talk to you about James Ingram, the song that you wrote with James Ingram, and Earth, Wind, and Fire. But tell us, who were your biggest influences? I mean, because you came from back in the day, and we've always had a lot of great artists, you know, throughout our time. But who were some of the biggest artists that influenced you?
Duke Ellington.
I was
Wow.
going to ask that. So, what was meeting Duke Ellington like? Cause, woo,
First of all, I knew about Duke Ellington because of records. Okay, but I was in the military and I played with a guy named Fats Ford,
mhm,
and he was very, very hip. You know, always had a convertible, a new convertible every year. You know, he spoke 7 languages. We didn't know what he was saying, so it didn't matter. You know. One day he came to the military yard, said, "Hey man, come ride with me." Okay, and he took me to Alabama State College,
mm,
and there was a big sign outside that says, "Tonight, Duke Ellington."
mm.
Now, Fats had been telling us that he had played with Duke Ellington. We didn't believe him. We didn't believe anything he said, but he had the biggest gigs in town. Okay, so we never questioned him. So we found a place where Duke and his men were having a meeting at Alabama State. When we opened the door, Everybody's head turned around, and everybody went like, Fats! So that confirmed that they knew Fats. Fats! Mr. Ellington, Fats, how you doing, man? Everybody knew him. Cats in Alabama didn't know him.
Wow.
So he's greeting everybody and whatever. And then finally, he took me by the hand, walked me over to Mr. Ellington, and introduced me as this super talented young man. I almost fainted because that was my Michael Jackson.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
And Mr. Ellington talked to me, man, maybe 10, 15 minutes. I can't remember nothing he said because my mouth was open the whole while.
That was phenomenal.
Okay,
Phenomenal.
that was it. That was it. And even to the point that some years later he died, and I was still so strung out. I named one of my children Edward Kennedy Ellington, which is Duke's name. I put a Wright on the end just to substantiate it. You know, Kennedy Ellington Wright.
That is so thoughtful.
Wow.
That's how much I was into the Duke.
Wow.
Oh.
I like that.
Now I gotta tell you something else. I gotta tell you something else
Go
because
ahead.
being thrown out of school, I had to learn some music, and every star that came to Greenville, Mississippi, which was mainly blues cats like Bobby Bland and whatever. And Bobby came to town, and little kid, you know, I went up on the bus, and there was a saxophone player had a magazine called Downbeat Magazine.
Yeah, I remember Downbeat.
Okay, it's a bi-monthly magazine. Okay, I asked the guy, could I look at this? He said, you can have it. I took that magazine. That's the greatest thing I ever had in my life.
Hmm.
In that magazine were ads, all kinds of music ads and the whole bit. But there was one that stood out, and it says Berkeley School of Music. Now, I'm out of school. I'm dumb. I don't know nothing. I'm sorry, I don't know anything. However, in that Berkeley School of Music thing, it offered correspondence courses. There was no campus then, early 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I finally got enough money to take that course. That was the greatest thing that ever happened to me.
Wow.
I studied that thing, studied. And I had to go to the military. I hated that. I want everybody to know I hated it. But instead of picking up that gun, I pick up that Berkeley School of Music correspondence course.
And that is so awesome.
You know what I'm
That
How
saying?
is
your life,
awesome.
how your life changed.
And
And when I got out, I finally got a chance to go to the Chicago Conservatory.
Ooh.
But Berkeley had prepared me for that. Mind you, all while I was taking the Berkeley thing, I never heard anything because they would send the courses. I'll do the homework, send it back, and then they send the graded papers. I never heard anything, never. But I used to complain that, let's say for the violas, you know, like the violins, violas, cellos, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Violins play from the treble clef. Cellos play from the bass clef. Violas play from the alto clef. I never heard of no damn alto.
Right, that's right.
And
Yeah,
then
we know that, Benjamin.
I saw it, and it didn't look like the other clefs.
Mm-hmm.
So I would always send a note to Berkeley, please explain this. They send my homework back, and they say, we don't know what to tell you. You make 100 on all your papers.
Wow.
That was not helping me.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Finally, I got a chance to do a string date. And I'm worried to death. Lord, will I have these violas right? So the guys came in the day of the session. I'm excited. And then I found out I had another problem, which was greater than, will the violas be right? That was, guys came in with violins and violas, cellos, contrabass. I had never seen these instruments.
Wow. Wow.
Never seen them. I'm really scared now. You know,
Wow.
mind you, I'm from Greenville, Mississippi. They didn't have those kind of instruments. Now,
No cello.
that was the first time I saw it in person. I've seen it in books, but this is in person. God just grabbed me by the hand, made the session a success. The viola parts were right. Then, you know, you forget God. Then you say, I got this.
I'm talking about.
I could do this, you know, but now I never left the Lord, you know, because here it is, I'm almost 75 and I still go to Sunday school. Okay? I go to Sunday school like the little kids. Okay? I never left that. Okay? But what happened is that I was a copyist in Chicago. And I copied for some heavy people. Charles Stephanie, who did the Earth, Wind, and Fire stuff. Donny Hathaway. People don't know that Donny was a superstar arranger long before they found out he could sing. Okay? And I was his copyist. Okay? So when Record found out he could sing, he left Chicago, went to New York. Well, we had some big time arrangers in Chicago, but they were unaffordable because they did a lot of all of the big artists. That left me to handle all the other stuff, all the other people. I was busier than a one-legged man in a kicking contest.
Benjamin, I want you to hold that thought there because we got to go on a commercial break real quick. And we come back, we're going to go ahead and continue talking to this world-renowned composer, Mr. Benjamin Wright Jr. This guy got an awesome journey. What an interesting story. It just also shows your dedication, Benjamin. You got, you went through the military, something you couldn't stand, and you got through that. And then you came back, and like I said, discovered and that alone, you discovered your gift, and you went with it. So that takes a lot. So we're going to come back. You're listening to the Max Mobile Celebrity Podcast. We're on a commercial break real quick, and we'll be back in a moment.
Creating a mobile app for my business has been one of the best decisions I've ever made as a business owner. It helps me stay connected with my customers. It allows me to send my customer specials at any point in the day using push notifications. I even have a loyalty system integrated to encourage more repeat business, which really works. And best of all, my customers love our mobile app. They're always using it, asking about it, interacting with it, and more. Developing a mobile app has been one of the most cost-effective ways for our business to grow, connect with new customers, and encourage existing customers to come in more. It's really paid off. To top it off, developing the app was extremely inexpensive and has shown a very high return on investment when considering the amount of new business we've generated from our business app. And if you're a business owner thinking about developing a mobile app, I highly recommend it. It will help you grow your business, connect with your customers, and stand out from your competitors.
With this current pandemic, we know there's still a lot of business owners that feel they don't need a mobile app to sell products to their current customers. Well, at least that's what they think. And maybe that's been the case in the past. But if you want to prepare for the immediate future and start seeing massive benefits right out the gate, you would need a mobile app from Max Mobile Pro to keep up in this fast lane of e-commerce. Not so easily convinced? There are many reasons why small business owners should embrace the revolution and invest in mobile apps. Here are just a few. Mobile apps are a great strategy to keep your customers engaged with your brand, offering unique features that are more relevant. More specifically, they act like gentle reminders that pull your customers back with real-time loyalty programs. One significant advantage of a mobile app developed by Max Mobile Pro is that it provides businesses with the opportunity to personalize their communications by leveraging user profile information. Companies are able to engage their customers individually in real time. An app provides brands with the tremendous opportunity to offer a highly personalized user experience and develop deeper relationships with customers, domestic and worldwide. To learn more how we can promote our brand using a custom mobile app, talk to our senior consultant by calling 813-403-7271. Once again, that number is 813-403-7271. Or visit us on the web at www.maxmobilepro.com. Your customers have all gone mobile. When will you?
Welcome back, everyone. And we are having a really good history lesson here, listening to Mr. Benjamin Wright. It's just such a great journey listening to this story. And Alycia, you got any comments that you want to make?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Mr. Wright Jr. You are responsible for one of my favorite ballads of all time, "100 Ways" with James
Mm.
Ingram. When I found out you were responsible, I screamed. I was like, "No, that is my song. That is my song." So I wanted to find out how exactly you and Quincy Jones met for the first time.
Okay, I'm glad you're sitting down. My music began to grow in Chicago, and then it began to get outside of Chicago. A lot of my stuff was coming to LA, and then I found myself having to fly to LA to do recording sessions. I finally made the move to LA. I got to tell you this because coming to LA in the early days, it's like I could never live here. It's too slow. Now wait a minute. Where you from, Benjamin? Greenville, Mississippi.
Who's the LA people?
Oh, I finally got over that, and my work increased so that I had to move. Okay. One day, I get to my apartment, and there's a phone call. Benjamin Wright? Yes. This is Quincy Jones. I'm like, Quincy who? They said, this is Quincy Jones. I'm like, yeah, right. Quincy who? I couldn't believe that. You know, I was just one of these guitar players messing with me or something. You know. But he finally understood. You know, Quincy's so big, he understood the impression he might have on younger cats. Okay. He got to the point where he said that he was about to do Michael Jackson, and we had to have some different kind of songs because Michael has been doing kiddie type stuff. Okay. So he gave me an address to come to. And I'm still saying, is this the real Quincy Jones? Okay. Well, the address was in Bel Air.
Uh-huh.
My car didn't even know how to drive to Bel Air. You know what I'm saying? However, God is always looking out for me. When I first came to LA, one of the things I did was I registered in the UCLA Film School. Because I wanted to write for movies and stuff. Okay. Here it is 900 years later, and I still don't have no movie. You know what I'm saying? However, I knew where Bel Air was because if you go west on Sunset, when you get to UCLA, you have to make a left turn. But if you turn right, it says, "Welcome to Bel Air." So, okay, I could do that. I finally found Quincy's house, got there, and the confirmation was the lady who answered the door, Peggy Lipton. I knew that because of the TV thing, Mod Squad.
Mod Squad.
So I'm in the right place. I go in, I'm nervous, and I ain't never nervous about nothing. You know what I'm saying? But with Q, I'm nervous. He makes me feel very welcome, whatever, and he gives me this song, Michael Jackson,
Mm.
and he gives me 30 days to write. Nobody has never given me 30 days to write. Okay, so hey man, I'm nervous and I'm scared and I don't know what to write. So 28 days out, I still had not written anything.
Mm.
And I can hear the Lord speaking to me. Like, Benjamin, you got a session in a couple of days. You're going to have to put some notes on that paper.
Mm.
I prayed on it. Asked God to give me the notes.
Mm.
I did it. Now the day of the session. I'm really nervous now. Get to the studio. Bruce Redeem, Quincy's engineer, and an engineer that I knew from Chicago. Hey, Ben, I'm scared. Yes? Bruce. Oh, Bruce, what's up, man? Da-da-da-da-da-da. And then Bruce says, hey, Kill, Benjamin's here. It's going to be a piece of cake. Oh, my God. I don't need no pressure.
Wow.
But what happened is that, God is still by my side. All the musicians come in. We do a take. I'm watching Quincy through the glass. And this cat is falling on his knees. I'm like, oh my God, I really must be messing up. But when he came into the control room, Quincy's like, this is a bad mother. Whoa, okay. So he likes it. He likes it so well that he gave me another song that day.
Wow.
That first song was Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. What I wrote is still happening.
Benjamin, you know what we're going to do, Benjamin? Right there.
That's my
For our viewers,
jam. Hold
that is
on.
jam. We're going to go ahead and play the video of Michael Jackson, Don't Stop Till We Get Enough.
Mm-mm. This
Like
song makes me dance.
Yes.
This one makes me dance.
Yep, this is for all our viewers here.
I'm going to have to get up.
That is jam. That
Hold
is
on.
jam.
I'm waiting. Here it is.
Oh, Lord, here it is.
Got a lot of power. It makes me feel like that.
Okay, to try to save some time.
Oh man,
The great
that is
Benjamin Wright.
awesome.
The great
That
Okay,
is
to
Benjamin
try to
Wright.
save
awesome.
some time, I'm going to go ahead and play another track produced by Mr. Benjamin Wright.
What's song, man? And the most phenomenal album in the history of Grammys. Goes something like this.
Uh-oh. Oh, Alicia, it's your song,
Oh,
Alicia.
that's my girl.
What she does, send her roses just because.
She
With
does.
the
With the
violin, she loves
violin, she loves. Let them
to
play.
dedicate her
Her
favorite song.
favorite song.
The closer all
Close
night
her all night long.
find 100 ways.
100 ways.
Don't let there could be an old love and a memory. If you need her so much more, I don't say, baby, she in mind that she's just wasting her time. But to ask her to stay 500 ways. Being cool won't help you keep a love warm. You just blow your only chance. Take your time to open up your heart. There's a secret in the sacrifice if you can. Find someone to wear. This is one more star she wants. Over the way.
Mm.
It's in your arms tonight. She'll say, and she loves you. Sweet is the death. You see, wants you, babe. Find 100 ways. Ladies and gentlemen, John Wayne's in the Buffalo Pop. You better believe it.
Benjamin, I want to say thank you so much, man, for giving us that track. Such a
Ooh,
That
man.
was
awesome,
beautiful.
awesome
And
track.
shouts out to the late great James Ingram. But I
Yeah.
had
Mm-hmm.
two follow questions for you, Mr. Wright Jr. One, what them royalties looking like? And number two, are you single? Because I ain't trying to go there. But I ain't messing with no broke. Good work, man.
You touched on something very important.
Good work, man.
You touched on something very important, and maybe this could help somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Publishing. Um, my mortgage is $3,500 a month. That song came out in 80 something. It's still paying my mortgage today.
Mm.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a good thing. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
Slow
awesome.
clap on that one.
That's awesome.
That's
That's awesome.
that's how important it is
Publishing is.
for all the young songwriters in terms of
Right.
publishing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Publishing. You know, it's I'm glad you asked that. Look at my check. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, playing it. I love it.
Man, that is awesome. I mean, wow. Your whole life is just. I mean, this the what you contribute to this country and this world is astronomical. And I just want to thank you for your gift and for sharing it with us.
Thank you.
Yes. Still doing it.
And before
Still
we
doing it.
leave, we're gonna have one more video that we're gonna do with Benjamin Wright was work with, and these are my boys, man. These are kids from the time I grew up. I remember the first time I saw them in concert, I was just blown away. And we are going to play Boogie Wonderland from Earth, Wind, and Fire. And that's
Yeah.
it.
Woo, this is a
Before
big
we
hit.
go, Benjamin, this is why we're going to close out. We're going to close out with Boogie Wonderland, but what's the relationship with Elfie? Elfie, you've been very quiet, Elfie, and we're going to book you for a future show, Elfie. But how did you guys hook up?
Okay.
Well, through Johnny, through Tom Washington, the arranger from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a musician, I'm a composer, producer, music programmer in different genres, so-called jazz, R&B, some theatrical stuff, etc., etc., etc. The person I worked with the longest was Teddy Pendergrass as a touring piano player from when he left Harold Melvin in 1975 up until 82, when he had his automobile injury. And so I've been blessed to be on, videos with him, Teddy Live in London, Teddy Live in Lake Tahoe. I've also been blessed to be in a motion picture called If You Don't Know Me. It's a documentary film on Teddy that's been out about 3 years. And those of us who were in the group, including Sam Reed, who was a musical director, we're interviews and performing on that motion pictures on Showtime. Also, I was blessed to play with a lot of jazz notables, Hank Mobley, Snide Hampton, James Spalding, Archie Ship. I was blessed to sit in with Coltrane one time, I sat in with Art Blakey one time.
The great Alfie Ballard.
And currently, over the last maybe 4 years, I've been the musical director for Earl Young for his Tramps. And Worked with a lot of people, Billy Paul, Norma Collins, you know, on and on.
You gotta let me say something.
And Ben, you had mentioned about how you were inspired to the total arrangement and be able to write it down. Tom Bell, so I'm told, Earl Young told me, like, if you do a Tom Bell session, you got to read because everything is written. You have to play the
Yes,
way
sir.
it's written, you know.
You gotta let me say something. In terms of Alfie, we don't get a chance to see our heroes as you have provided me today. Okay, I am so honored because this is a mentor.
Oh wow.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Alfie is a mentor to many cats. They might not get the opportunity like me today to be able to say that to him.
Mm.
I thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Be of service.
Right.
That's my man.
And one of my mentors is John Croon. Although he's younger than me chronologically,
I
but
was
he's
hoping Johnny
one of my
I,
people I
I was hoping Johnny
take
would
those from.
say because I owe him some money.
Oh, really?
These guys crazy, man.
Could you
Go ahead,
elaborate,
man.
please? Could you elaborate on that,
Go
please?
ahead. Go ahead, man.
Because, you know, what?
That's what I
Got the
love
great.
about our
You got the
brother.
Wow.
spirit. You
Keep
got the
it
spirit.
real,
Hey, John, don't look like that, Johnny. Come on now.
Wow.
Look like a dead deer in the head.
Y'all got something else, boy. No, these guys, in all seriousness, they set the tone for me when I was coming up. I've watched Alfie from when I was a child. I'm going to say somewhere
Would you
around.
put away the yeast, please?
I'm going to say somewhere around the eighth or ninth grade, somewhere in there, and what have you. I remember seeing
Ladies and
Alfie
gentlemen,
doing.
Johnny has these attacks, you know.
No, yeah, right.
Go on, Johnny.
Anyway,
Keep
I
talking about
watched
it.
him. I watched him doing the things
Right
with
on, right
Teddy.
on.
I watched him doing the things with Teddy, and he was doing things with Teddy when Teddy was huge, and what have you. As I said, I did the second things with Teddy when he was in the wheelchair. But for the most part, there was a lot of things coming out of Philly in the 70s and in the early 80s, and Alfie, he was a big part of a lot of those things that were going on, Philly International, all sorts of things. And I I was just honored to just we've been such good friends for a long time.
Mm.
We've really been good friends for a long time. But with Ben is somebody that I saw him playing. Ben calls it the concrete jungle. And what the concrete jungle was the Robin Hood Dell. he,
Ah, the
he
telly.
he
Yeah.
he lovingly calls it
The
the
concrete
concrete
jungle.
jungle.
Okay.
And I saw him playing with Gladys Knight somewhere
Woo.
around the 10th grade. And I can remember that like it was just yesterday because they just blew me away with the arrangements. What Ben was doing back then is he was orchestrating a band without an orchestra. He had five keyboard players that would play the orchestra parts.
Oh wow.
So when you looked at the stage, you're saying, "Man, that's an awful lot of keyboard players."
Uh-huh.
But
But
what he had did for some dates that they did that were not orchestra dates, he would set the situation up so that they could still play the same music, you know, but play it with the keyboards and things like
wow.
that. And it blew me away watching him do that. I remember him like it was yesterday. I remember watching him walk on stage. He was a tall man, with the big afro, um, very esteemed and very kind, very kind. And I had never met him. The other time that I met him was when I was the musical director for Boys to Men. And I have to be careful how I say all of this because, as you all know, I don't want any trouble. But when I was the musical director with Boys to Men, we were on a show, the NAACP United Negro College Fund. You all may remember that. Lou Rawls used to
The Rose used to
head that.
host it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were on that with a host of artists. I don't remember all of the other artists that was on it, but I know Gladys Knight was on it. And we were promoting.
I think Jodeci was there too.
Excuse me?
Was it Jodeci? Jodeci was there too?
Well, Jodeci was on the tour with us that year.
Okay.
They may have been. They may have been on that date too. They may have been on that date because we were out on tour. The thing that we were doing back then, we did tour dates, television dates, and they were all mixed together. It was a lot. But when we did this thing, and Ben was on it, we had just finished promoting End of the Road, and it had broke records and all of this kind of stuff. And I think we had moved on. I think we was even past I'll Make Love to You. I think we were on Bend the Knee by that time. But Gladys Knight did a version of End of the Road that Ben arranged. And the arrangement on this thing was so good that after they played, Brooke Payne had a meeting with us upstairs saying, how does it feel to get your ass kicked with your own song by somebody else? You know?
Wow.
And he had an awesome arrangement on this tune, you know. So that was the second time that I won't say met, but I was in his presence that I knew who he was. I seen him a few other times throughout the years, but that time was a staple, you know. And he's just been that guy, you know.
I have to share something with you. I was in Philadelphia to
boy.
The Philadelphia Harmonic.
Okay.
And I left my insulin in California. So for 4 days, I had no insulin. So I noticed that I was not feeling well. And I said, hey, man, I need to go to the hospital to get some insulin. So there's this guy, Johnny, volunteered to take me to the hospital. And we're talking along the way in the whole bed. And I'm coming down on him about something about union and why this and why that. But we get just about to the hospital, and he says, Benjamin, I need you to pronounce my name. I'm looking up like, what's wrong with this cat? So he says his name, and I say, okay. He said, no, pronounce it. Okay. And we drive a little further, and he said, now, could you pronounce my name again? What the hell is wrong with this guy? We get to the hospital. He says, now, we got a lot of steps to go up to get to the hospital. He says, can you pronounce my name again? He says, because we might get separated in the hospital. Okay, that made a little sense. So we get up there. I said to him, say my name, say my name.
That is wow.
We've been working ever since, but he witnessed my rehearsal. Well, it wasn't rehearsal because I brought in my rhythm section from California. And they didn't do nothing but tell jokes all day. Finally, we hook up with the Philadelphia Philharmonic. And Johnny just know me from, I'm just laughing with the cats all day. But when we got to that orchestra, I put on another hey, excuse me, it's like, fuck with me. Okay, now I'm in charge. Let's go.
Playtime was over.
Oh, right. Snap, foot.
Well, Johnny, you can tell it from there.
Well, for the most part, when they were rehearsing, it was just a rhythm section. And listening to a rhythm section, the rhythm section is basically guitar, bass, and drums and percussions. So you're basically playing the foundation of the song. But what really makes a lot of these songs are the arrangement of the strings and horns and things like that.
Yeah.
So when you're not hearing those things play, you're kind of hearing the song, but it's kind of standardized compared to what it can be.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got there and the orchestra came in on this thing, it was a night and day difference. It was like God Himself landed in the Kimmel Center. I was like, I don't know how Ben thinks of these things because I just sat for a week listening to this rhythm section and them playing the whole show. And then when the strings were added, it was a whole nother.
Man.
It was crazy. It was unbelievable. It was overwhelming. It was really overwhelming for me,
Wow.
And the thing that he was talking to you all about with the hospital, he hadn't taken his insulin, and I didn't want him to go. You know how when you get to the hospital, they'll just take the patient in the back room or what have you, but you
Mhm.
can't go.
Right.
I didn't want something to happen and him pass out in there or anything like that, and he wakes up and he doesn't remember me or anything like that. Only thing that I was thinking was, all I need on my name is Johnny Kroom dropped the ball on Benjamin Wright. Something happened to Benjamin Wright,
Uh-huh.
and Johnny was with him. So
He's like, I don't want no trouble.
yeah, because this when I first met him. This is when we first met. When we first officially met. So before going in the hospital, I was asking him. I said, Ben, you're gonna need to remember my name. He looked at me all crazy, like,
Probably like,
what's
what?
wrong with you? I said, say, my name is Johnny Kroom. Say it back to me. And he said it once. Then I told him to say it again, and he started looking at me like, does this guy think I'm crazy or something? Then before going in the hospital, I asked him to say it again. Now, what's my name again? So it turned into anytime that I would call him on the phone, he would answer with, say my name, say my name.
That's one that he will never forget.
He'll never forget.
Which
Neither of us.
that album he also worked on as well.
Oh,
Destiny's
yeah.
Child debut album.
Yeah.
Johnny was he was very concerned, and I appreciate that. But they couldn't take care of me fast enough.
Yeah.
So I asked the nurse. I said, "Now, do you think I'm gonna die this afternoon?" She said, "No." I said,
He
"Johnny,
left.
get the hell out of here."
He left.
I ain't got time for these people. They take me back to rehearsal.
He asked the nurse, am I going to die today? She said, no, you'll be fine. He said, bye.
He dropped the mic on. I was like, I'm out of here. Oh my goodness.
And
Well, gentlemen, I don't even want to stop the show, but we are over our time. I am so enjoying just sitting here, basking in the stories and the presence and learning. This just has fed my spirit. So I just want to thank you, gentlemen, for just giving your gifts to the world and letting God use you, because you are blessing every single person. I mean, you can't even imagine how many times people have heard your music and heard your work. Your legacy is just
millions,
impeccable. You're brilliant, and my heart is just so full right now. But I want to thank you again for joining us. And can I get you all to close out with any shout outs or closing remarks? I'm going to start with you, Mr. Wright.
Well, my thing is this. I get a lot of questions in the whole bit, and everybody it doesn't seem to accept my answer. And my answer is, God gives me the music.
Yes, sir.
I believe it.
God gives me the music. and maybe that's why I'm still in church. I'm still in church. I still go to Sunday school and the whole bit.
That's your
Wow.
gift.
There you go. Let them use
That's
you.
your gift.
That's your gift.
And Mr. Crew, again this week, thank you for joining us. Would you like to give any closing remarks?
Uh, my only closing remark would be, I'm just grateful,
Mhm.
and I would say, for anybody who wakes up and the sun is shining, I'm just Velma Croom's baby boy. I'm just happy.
Oh,
Amen.
I'm just
Amen.
happy, and I
amen.
want everybody to
Amen.
be happy.
Thank you,
That's my
sir.
closing remark.
Thank you. Mr. Pollitt, sir,
Yes,
it's been
ma'am.
such a pleasure. Would you like to give some closing remarks today?
Well, I'm grateful to the Creator for all the blessings, and you know, sunny days, rainy days, snowy days. I got to go out and
Absolutely.
shovel snow. That's a blessing being able to do that. You know?
Yes, sir.
And friends and great friends, and the music is medicine. It's good medicine. Good music is good medicine. We all,
Yes,
whole
it is.
planet, we all need it to keep us, you know, trying to catch up with Johnny Quinn.
And you're Alfie Pollard. You left that out.
You know
I'm
what?
the
You know
great
what?
Alfie Pollard.
I want to say something to you guys, and Miss Cooper, Miss Tiana, Mr. Fields. It is a joy and a pleasure and an education for a lot of people for what you're doing,
Yes,
bringing
sir.
to
Yes, indeed.
like it is. You know what I'm saying? Especially like Mr. Alfie today.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
the names that he talked, the people that he worked with, you know, those people are older than your parents,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
and he worked with them. You know, that's you don't know what that means to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yes,
blown
sir.
away.
Yes,
Talking
sir.
to him the other day, he just wiped me out.
Yes, sir.
This is history.
Yes,
This is.
This is
This
yes,
history.
is.
it is.
All three of you are living legends.
Yes,
And,
yes,
Yes.
yes.
and I
Yes.
take that very seriously because I had the blessing and opportunity of having a mother just like Johnny, who influenced me to go into. She wasn't a musician or anything, but she influenced me to just do whatever I decided to do, and which I chose music. And as you guys know, it's not an easy thing to go
Hmm.
professional and get and make a living off of it. You have to have there's something inside of you, just like Benjamin still has it right now. Johnny still has it, Elfie, but you have to be able to identify it, and you have to be in sync with it. And that
Mm-hmm.
spirit is that fire inside of you, and it takes hours. People really don't realize the hours that it takes just to practice, just to be able to figure out how to put this music together, that craft, and then try to get it to explain it to somebody else for them to be able to play what you hear in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hmm.
Benjamin, you really get that. You understand that. And Johnny, you understand it because you and I have had some talks about that.
Yes, sir.
Uh, that's one of the most difficult things to do is to take your creativity and then put it out and for people to be able to understand it and then being able to play it the way you
Yeah,
hear it.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
you got to learn all these different languages. You got to learn about all the music stuff. And we were doing this stuff before all this stuff was even written. We were doing this stuff before music was even called music. We were doing this stuff. This is in our DNA, and
Yes,
we're
sir.
still doing it to this day. So I'm just going to say thank you so much for being the living legends that you are, and showing our children, my grandchildren, are going to be able to know who Benjamin Wright is, who Johnny Croom is, and Elfie. And the bottom line of it is, this is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, because we needed to have a podcast where people can understand history. These kids today, everything they do is by their phones. That's all they know. That's all they know. And they have gifts as well, but we are that generation that
Mm-hmm.
is dying. When I'm saying that, our music now is not it's not the same today as what we grew up with. And I grew up as a little boy listening to Norman Connors, what Elfie was working with. I grew up listening to Benjamin Wright with Earth, Wind, and Fire. Those were my heroes growing up. And I was so enlightened to find out when I found out you guys were coming on the show. I was telling Johnny, I said, Johnny, you know something? I don't care if I don't do nothing else. The fact that this relationship and developing this show today, it means everything to me. It means everything to me.
Yes,
And I'm copying and give it to my 19-year-old daughter so she can see what this was all about. And thank you too, Alycia. People need to understand Alycia is a professional comedian. And she has that same spirit to be able to get on the stage and entertain people, black, white, otherwise. And once again, it takes a special talent and gift to be able to recognize that and to be able to do that and to please. Because what you're here for, you know what we're doing here, Shonda? We're pleasing our audience.
Mm-hmm.
This has nothing to do with racism. It has nothing to do with we are pleasing and entertaining an audience. And these gentlemen have done it globally.
But I want to be in line. How can Miss Cooper be a comedian and be so cute?
It's a blessing and a curse.
I'll take the first part.
And gentlemen, I got to throw this in here too. I'm putting a lot of pressure on her, but Shonda, this lady here, this woman has a voice. She's got a voice, and we're going to get her in the studio and get a demo track for her because Johnny, you got to hear this girl. This girl can sing.
Let's go, Shonda. Let's go.
This girl can sing. So I'm going to close out the show, and we're going to play Earth, Wind, and Fire and Boogie Wonderland. That Benjamin Wright. Benjamin, what exactly did you do with this song? You produced the strings on this?
I did all of the music.
Oh, okay. Let me shut up.
There's so many layers in this thing.
It really is. This thing is deep.
I want to say something now. It didn't start out for Earth, Wind, and Fire. It started out for somebody else.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Okay. Maurice called me in and said, "Hey, man, Al McKay is producing this act, and it ain't no hit, and so. Benjamin, why don't you take a listen to it?" And this is his words. You know how you put timpanis and shit.
Timpanis and shit.
I put everything in there.
Well, this is how we're going to close it out. Hey, Benjamin, I gotta tell you that we had the Emotions there. We had Wendy Vaughn on our show from the Emotions.
I was about to say that's the Emotions singing on this.
Yeah, I just want to tell you that, Benjamin.
That's like my goddaughter.
Oh.
Yeah. Her father, Wayne Vaughn, wrote "Let's Groove Tonight."
Oh.
And boom, that's my best friend.
Wow.
See how the world works. All right, everybody, we got to go. And I want to say thank you so much for joining us. And Alfie, I'll be in touch with you so we can go ahead and get you booked as well.
All right. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody so much.
Oh, this was awesome. Thank
And
you.
I want everybody to have a great weekend and do these things. We want everybody to stay safe, stay sanitized, and stay smart. We'll see you again next week on the Max Mobile Celebrity Podcast. Everybody have yourself a great weekend. And thank you so much for joining us. Bye, everybody.
Okay, God bless you.
God bless.